Hello. Why is the second it hit 9 o'clock, this Twitch chat is now spammed with blank spaces? I have no idea what's going on there, but first things first. On the little screen behind, I did say bring a pink skirt and come here. Shout out to all these people that actually bothered. For those of you that are wondering, World 320, the Tortoise Pen in the Grand Tree, north of there. That's where I'm going to be doing it all. So yeah, 1,000 Supreme kills. Let's get going. Okay, that's a bad start. I need to get left click attack on. Left click where available. Rubbish. I did 1 kill earlier on Supreme just to give it a try, and I immediately got an Archer's Ring. Ooh, Fremnik Blade. Hands down the best loot from DKs. I've been told. Hang on, I've been told by James that he set up the audio and it will be absolutely fine once I get going with it. So I'm not trusting Twitch chat this time. I'm sorry. I didn't trust it last time and I was wrong, and I had the music too loud for almost the whole stream. But James has assured me that it is absolutely fine as is, and I'm going to trust him on this. So, oh, Archer's Ring first inventory, that's pretty nice to see. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, the best way to get me to answer them is to tweet them to me. And I did? Why? That's odd. I had 15 kills when I started for some reason. It should have reset when I logged out. That is really odd. I don't know what's up with that. I'll just go to 1015 though. That's no big issue. But yeah, if you guys have any questions you want me to answer, then send them my way, whether it's in Twitch chat, Twitter. Twitter is the better way, because generally the Twitch chat can get a little out of hand reasonably fast, so it's tricky to keep track of questions and whatnot. Loot's going on the floor already. So yeah, how many of you guys have seen, why am I going into that one? How many of you guys have seen the Bounty Hunter dev blog? Did it go up today? I think it went up today. Yeah, it went up earlier today. Open bank. In you go. It went up earlier today. And yeah, so far it's had a reasonably positive response. Compared to the previous ones, there's not been as much outrage, which is always a good thing. To be fair, the previous ones didn't go down absolutely tragically. It could have been better. I feel like that is partially my fault for perhaps miscommunicating what Bounty Hunter was going to be in some of the dev blogs, and people got a little mixed up with what our intentions were with Bounty Hunter. But this time round, I feel like the dev blog was a lot clearer, and it gave a much clearer idea of what Bounty Hunter is supposed to be. And as a result of that, the response from it seems to have been a lot more positive, and the feedback we're getting is still really valuable feedback, and we will be doing what we can to make it better. And so far we've updated the dev blog a couple of times. So there are being changes being made, and if we feel like there are other ones that need to be made based on what people say, then we will do so. Where is my potato? There's my potato. But so far it's been going well. My mic is not muted. I had to check. But I am now confident that my mic is not muted. Spawned is Supreme. I tweeted him and he told me he would read my tweets Keepo. I didn't say I would read them. I said that I would answer questions, and you didn't ask a question. There you go, music's gone down a bit because people of a legitimate nature have been asking me to turn it down. I'm just going to assume James speaks louder than me. Who knows? Music being too low is not the worst thing that can happen, so it's alright. Is he dropping all the loot after for people? I am not dropping all of the loot after for people. I think some people might have something to say about that. Pretty much everyone would have something to say about that, I'm sure. Who's this green dot over here? I'm curious. It's Curve. Of course it's Curve. Can you go ban all the botters at Blue Dragons? No. I've never banned anyone. I don't know how to ban anyone. I don't think I can ban people. I don't know. Although, to be honest, I don't think there's going to be that many bots there. I'm sure there will be some, if people are saying there's some. Occasionally bots slip past Modweth, it happens, but he gets them, and he gets them fast. So I think that's kind of the issue. There used to be the bot busting events, I believe, that were community events. And I really enjoy that idea, but the issue with that now is that there just aren't enough bots to make it really that significant of an event. You'd go and maybe find some people botting, and probably not. Where's the trading solution? With the trading solution, we're still waiting on engine support before that starts to be developed. I mean, we know what it's going to be at this point in time based on what people voted for. D-hatchet and an archer's ring in 5 kills. That is nice. First D-hatchet as well. We know what it's going to be based on what people have said they want. So it is just a matter of getting the engine support and then creating the thing that people have made it clear what is what they want. Can you have one of these potatoes? I'm gonna go ahead and challenge you and say, if you can get one, you can have it. Are you killing Dagonoths? Killing Dagonoth Supreme, who's the ranged Dagonoth King. Buying rotten potato, 250k. Is Bounty Hunter coming out? That depends on what you guys have to say about it. We just put up a devlog today, a new devlog that kind of clarified exactly what we wanted Bounty Hunter to be, and we wanted Bounty Hunter target system, which is just that. It is a target system. You go into the wilderness and you'll be assigned a target that's someone within a reasonable level range, so they're a suitable person for you to kill, and you get an arrow that points you towards them. That's it. That is essentially what Bounty Hunter should be. We did ask in a devlog, do you want to see it on multiple worlds, or would it be something you want restricted to one world? A lot of people, a huge number of people actually said that they do want it in the wilderness. D-Med, I'm loving it. People said that they want it implemented into the wilderness over PvP worlds, and people have said pretty wholeheartedly the entire way down the line from the first devlog until now that Craters is not the ideal solution for Old School, which I would personally agree with. I think that if we can find a way to implement Bounty Hunter into existing PvP areas, then it will do a lot for the game, because it will improve the activity in those areas. At the minute, what we're suggesting is implementing it into the wilderness on existing worlds, not to split the community, but instead to allow the community to gather on those worlds and PK on those worlds. Because with the Bounty Hunter that we have proposed, you're not obliged to take part in the target system. You can completely ignore it and just PK as you usually would, but if you have that system on a world, then you're going to have more people there. So there'll be more people to fight normally. So even if you don't want the Bounty Hunter system, or you're not going to make use of it, then you don't have to. You can make use of the activity that it would create on those worlds. Can I sell you one of my special chins? I think I'll get in trouble. These are just normal black chins, but I believe when I click to spawn the Supremes, it sets it so I can one-hit them. I'm not 100% on that. I'm not sure how it works. I don't know the codes and whatnot. Mate, show my knowledge right there. But yeah, these chins are nothing special. You want to PK normally, then you'd be able to PK normally. You could go into a bounty hunter themed world if that's what it ended up being, and you could just go and PK as you usually would. The only difference would be that someone could potentially get you as a target and be pointed towards you. So, I mean, while that might make a difference in deeper wilderness PKing, in Edgefield style PKing, it really wouldn't have any sort of impact. Just because someone gets pointed towards you doesn't mean they're going to fight you, and if they do get pointed towards you, it's not necessarily a bad thing. We haven't discussed anything in terms of whether or not people would be able to PJ fights when they have a target, but with that system and in keeping with the idea of making it as much like the wilderness as it is with just another mechanic added in, I don't think it would be wise to allow people to PJ fights to attack their target. Will you repol Artisan? I mean, it's perfectly possible. Artisan is a massive project that, if we can get it right and to the point where players really want to see it in the game, then it is something that would bring a huge amount of new content to the game, and would benefit the game in a lot of ways. A lot of people have said that they feel it's an unfinished idea and they don't have enough information on it to pass it into the game yet, which I think is a fair criticism. If they don't feel like there's enough information being provided, then we can provide more information, we can give more in-depth information. Because if the reason that a lot of people don't want it in the game is because they don't know enough about it, then I don't personally feel like that is a good enough reason to scrap it completely. I feel like that's a good reason to give a much more in-depth idea of exactly what Artisan is, how it will impact the game, and what it will do for your playing experience. And one thing to note, actually, I did forget to mention this at the start of the stream, is I can't get pets or clue scrolls. They're disabled on this Supreme because to get to this area and to do this, I have to have God mode on, and with God mode on, you always get a pet and you always get an elite. Or you always get a clue scroll, so it wouldn't work if any sort of insight into the rarity or anything like that. Step it up, Ronan, where are your ranger boots? I didn't create this set. In fact, this is just a set thing on the potato. You can go in and there's like wilderness sets, and you click it and it will instantly set you up like this, except with a crossbow, and then it will fill up your inventory with like pots and food. It's pretty snazzy. I don't know enough item IDs to be able to spawn myself a nice looking set at the minute. First circle, that's actually quite nice to see. These are actually quite expensive now, John tells me, because they are a requirement for elite clues, which I think that is kind of a relief actually for someone that does enjoy DKs. The fact that they are now actually worth something and aren't a total troll drop is amazing. Are there any plans to add new content to the hunter or fire making skills? I don't believe there are any plans at this point in time, but that doesn't mean we're not open to the idea. Another circle, this is going well. I think that if you can come up with a really quality idea that really benefits the game and add something interesting to those skills, then there's absolutely no reason why we would say no to that. But it is a matter of you do need to, you kind of have to have an idea before you ask that question, because I mean, sure, we're up for it, but what would you like to see, and what would get the support necessary to get polled and get into the game? Why can't you add bonfires like in RS3? I feel as if bonfires wouldn't go down with Old School too well, because people that have done fire making in Old School have done it clicking one log at a time. Tinderbox log, tinderbox log. You have to do that. There is no alternative. And to have done that, it's a very, very tedious skill to train in comparison to a lot of others. And if you introduce bonfires, it is essentially AFK fire making, and it makes fire making a lot less click intensive, and I feel like people that have achieved high levels in fire making would probably frown upon that. And the thing about bonfires is they could definitely be worked in to actually give you some sort of boost. Like, I'm not sure how it works in the other version of RuneScape. I'm not up to date on bonfires and whatnot. I don't remember. I know it gives you a health boost, which I used to use for Darking. That is the extent of my knowledge. But I'm sure that there could be something introduced into fire making that is not so, I guess, game changing. Because while that might not be a game changing update for it's skill changing. It would flip the entire fire making skill on its head and make it one of the semi-AFKable skills in the game, as opposed to one of the click-intensive ones that you have to spend a lot of time and a lot of concentration on. Has the Old School RuneScape team considered adding the Blood Altar? Again, I think it is a matter of having a good enough reason to, a good enough piece of content to go along with it. If you just throw the Blood Altar in there, it's not really... I mean, you can craft blood runes, that's great, but what comes along with that? I think crafting blood runes would be great. I think it'd be a really nice money maker for people with high rune crafting levels, but I don't think that people with high rune crafting levels are necessarily lacking good money makers. I don't know what you'd expect the requirement to be to craft them, but I'm assuming it would be reasonably high, and once you get up to that sort of like 90s, you'll be looking at doing double nats instead. Could we add the tool belt? That's a good question. I don't know if there's any opposition to the idea, because it didn't really have an enormous impact on the game, adding the tool belt. But it did mean that you could be a lot less... It took away a lot of the tedious elements of the game, but also a lot of people from Old School say that makes the game easier, because you don't have to think about these things ever again. Which I think is a fair comment to make. But I think that Artisan would half solve a lot of the things that people asked for the tool belt because of things like being able to wield a harpoon, or being able to wield a lobster pot or lobster cage. I don't remember what they're called. It's oh, my throat is gone. It is tricky to just throw something like that in there because it doesn't really add anything to the game, whereas if you bring it along with Artisan and allow people to gain an extra inventory slot and wield equipment like chisels and whatnot, then coming in with Artisan, it will bring something to the game. It will give you a reason to train Artisan. It will get you doing stuff. I think that kind of thing could be a nice addition to Old School if it brings something along with it, but simply doing that so that you never have to think about those things again, I don't think is the best way of going about it. What happens if you lose Potato? I spawn another one. Anybody else want claws? I'm sure a lot of other people want claws. I felt quite bad earlier on because I saw someone post on Reddit saying, why do all these people in Varrock want dragon claws so badly? And then I clicked on the thread. I was like, what is going on in Varrock? And I noticed that he said, there are people offering me 5 mil to vote for D claws. Turns out that the guy was getting offered money to go onto phishing websites and vote on a fake poll, trying to scam him into losing his account, which is it's terrible to see stuff like that. I mean, the fact that those people exist, as in the people that sit there all day trying to fish people, it's really depressing. But declaws, I don't think they have overwhelming support. I think far from it. I think there are definitely some people that would like to see declaws in the game, but I do think there are a limited group that will have one hell of a battle ahead of them to get declaws into the game. But I think it's possible to add declaws to the game and not have it completely flip old school on its head. Like with the AGS, people back then were concerned that the AGS would be overpowered. Now that it's in the game, yeah, sure, you occasionally get one banged by an AGS and you're like, okay, I quit forever. But the fact is, it's not that overpowered. It is a weapon that you can deal with, and I think the same could be said for claws. And if the same couldn't be said for claws, but people still wanted them, then claws could be changed. If people want the nostalgia of using dragon claws, then that doesn't necessarily mean you need the nostalgia of one-banging someone from 99 HP. If you can think of a reasonable way to rework claws, they're more likely to pass a poll, then go for it. If you can get enough support, then you can have anything in this game, essentially. At the end of the day, it is your game to determine the future of. Claws used to one-hit you no matter what. Claws had a lower accuracy than God Swords. The only... I don't know if the special attack affected accuracy at all. I don't think it did. I could be wrong. But they attacked faster, is what I would say the main advantage over God Swords was. The advantage for God Swords, though, is that they're A, more accurate, and B, you can't eat through them. There's hit splats. It's just one hit splat. If you get hit for an 80, you get hit for an 80. If you get hit for an 80 with claws, you get hit for a 20, whatever. It splits it up, so you do have an extra tick or two to eat up, which is a downside to claws. But like I said, they're faster, so you can combo it with other things nicer. I'm getting a lot of archer's rings. I'm loving it. What's the mod's current view on adding spirit shields to corpse drop table? Right now, I think the mod's point of view is somewhat irrelevant. I feel like we're willing to do it if it is what the community want and if it will be balanced for old school. I think the players are coming around to the idea. I think one thing that a lot of people, when they hear Divine, they think, overpowered. You can never kill someone with a Divine. They last forever at every boss. But the thing you've got to take into consideration is that when you're thinking about those people that would last for like 3.5 years at Bandos with a Divine, you're thinking about that person with a Divine, overloads, turmoil, and a full yak of prayer pots. And if you take away all of that, a Divine is not that insanely overpowered. It is still incredibly good. Don't get me wrong, it would be the best shield in the game, and rightfully so. It would be coming from the hardest boss in the game. That would be an incredible challenge, and the drop would be beyond the rare. It's not something that you're going to come across every other day. Spirit shields wouldn't make DFSs irrelevant because there wouldn't be enough shields in the game to completely overtake DFSs. Not even close. A fraction of the number. And even then, if you could afford a Divine or an Elysian over a DFS, you're going to be one of the lucky few that can. I think that Spirit Shields, as they were, could definitely work with Old School, and I've seen a lot of support for the idea of keeping them how they were. The general consensus that I've seen on the forums, amongst the people that do want them to be as they were, I'm not saying this is the general consensus overall, is that essentially, if Corp is going to be as difficult as Corp is, then he needs to have justifiably amazing loots. And Spirit Shield do that in the form that they were. They're not game-breakingly unbalanced, they're just very, very good, and they would be the best shields at what they're set out to do. But I think Spirit Shields coming out as they were I think it's not out of the question. And I think that a lot of players actually want that to happen, which is, it's nice to see actually. Could we see clans like EOC in 07? I'm not sure entirely what you mean by that. I'm going to assume you mean either the clan system, so you can actually be invited into a clan and then you have the clan chat alongside the friends chat. I'm not sure if that would happen in Old School. I don't have enough insight into this to comment really, but I can only imagine it would require a lot of cooperation with the main game, or the other version of the game. If I say the main game, people will kill me. Because at the end of the day, the systems are shared. The friends list and the friends chat systems, they're all shared with RS3. So I can only imagine that the clan system would be shared as well. I'm sure it's not an impossible thing, but I don't think it's planned for the near future. In fact, it's not planned for the near future, I can tell you that. How about Dragon Plate body that gives strength bonus but no prayer, so there's still a use for Bandos? Ooh, Archer's Ring. I'm getting plenty of them actually. Dragon Plate body, I think that there were actually quite a lot of people asking for Tormented Demons. That doesn't mean Tormented Demons and Claws and Dragon Plate body. What on earth happened there? That thing didn't die right away, that's worrying. So I think that Dragon Plate body isn't out of the question. I think that people love TDs, Tormented Demons even, because they were an incredibly entertaining boss to kill, really fun mechanic, and I think that if they were to come into the game, Dragon Plate body could come along with it. There are a number of other ways that I'm sure Dragon Plate body could come into the game, but I think the stats with the Dragon Plate body are probably the least of your worries, because Dragon Plate body was never that outstanding of a piece of armor at all. There was always the Barrow sets that I believe had better stats than it. They just were degradable. There's always been higher level gear than Dragon, and there is an Old School D-Hatchet. Is that my second D-Hatchet? I'm not sure, maybe third. So Dragon Plate bodies wouldn't be game-breakingly unbalanced if they were to come out and have decent defensive stats, or similar defensive stats to what they had in the other game. Just a matter of how to get them into the game in a way that, again, brings value to the game. The bow that I'm getting as a loot is called a Circle, and I believe that it's the same as a magic short bow with a different special attack, where if you use a special attack, then it lowers the enemy's magic level by whatever you hit. So if you hit a 15, then it will lower their magic level by 15. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think that's what it does. And they're also required for an elite clue scroll, so they're pretty valuable. I think they're about 300-400k. And they are just as rare as Archer's Rings and Dragon Hatchets. Although those three items, let me get up a bank quickly and I'll put them next to each other, because they're the three big ones from Supreme really. That there. Put coins there, because coins always have to go at the start. Why are these rune throwing axes there? Get out. Then what else? Circle. Archer's Rings. There we go. So these three items, Dragon Axe, Circle and Archer's Rings, they're all 1 in 128. So in terms of Dragon Hatchets, I'm getting reasonably unlucky right now. In terms of Archer's Rings, I'm getting reasonably lucky. But yeah, they're the three big loots from... I banked my potato and didn't withdraw it. I am so smart. I did that last stream as well. Not colon, got a rotten... Get out. Give rotten potato. There we go. The first time that I did that, I didn't realise that I could just spawn another one back, and I was really confused for a very long time. Yeah, I'm an idiot. So how many of you guys have checked out the poll? The little it's quite funny to me how Ash decided to call it a poll when it's a survey. It makes sense because it is a survey about the polls, about the in-game polls. and I suppose that website polls as well. But yeah, it's a survey, not a poll. But the poll. The survey that went out asking you guys about what you want to see done with in-game polls. Do you want to see it replace the website polls? Do you want to see it go alongside it? Would you expect to use it primarily? Stuff like that. How would you want to access it in game? Would you? One thing that I did see Ash asking on Twitter earlier was, and it got a really positive response, was, do you want to be able to change your answer after you voted in the poll? And I think that's an absolutely excellent idea, because there have been a number of occasions where I have voted for something and then later on thought, actually, that's not half bad, and not being able to go back and change it. I think it would help a lot, because after people vote, maybe they'll get curious and go check out a dev blog, and it'll be something completely different to what they'd anticipated. And whether that makes them then vote no or vote yes, they can go and change their vote accordingly, which I think is reasonable. It gives people a better opportunity to be informed as to what it is they're voting on, which I think is never a bad thing. The more people understand what they're voting on, the better. Would you introduce the Tormented Wraith along with Corporal Beast? I was actually wondering that myself the other day. I was on the... I don't remember what website actually. It was some fan site, and I stumbled upon the Tormented Wraith page, and I was like, would that work in Old School? I don't know. I think it would depend on how... I'm sure there's no objection to adding the Tormented Wraith. But depending on how Corp ends up coming into the game, I think that it would have to tie in somehow. I don't really remember how the Tormented Wraith tied in. All I remember is that Tormented Wraith dropped... Was it elixirs? I don't remember what they're called. Holy elixirs? Which you needed to turn Spirit Shields into Blessed Spirit Shields, which you could attach the sigils to. What am I doing? Spawning them. Oh, that's mighty close to the edge. That is worthy of panicking. Another circle, not too shabby. Will RS3 Dag Kings ever be graphically reworked? I have no idea. I'm on the Old School team, and I'm new on the Old School team, so I don't know anything about RS3 development. Don't know what's planned. I know the odd thing or two that pops into my inbox, but I have no major insight into that, so I'm afraid I can't answer that question for you. How about voting in-game? That is what the in-game polls would be. You would essentially... Don't die, don't insult me, Wingman Rex. You'd be able to go in-game, and depending on what people vote for, or what this survey tells us people want, you'll be able to go up to a bank booth, you'd be able to go and get the Varrock Herald, you'd be able to have an item that would be dedicated to allowing you to vote, and then you'd be able to pop up the poll in-game, and read through, click on links to go directly to relevant dev blogs and vote, which I think is definitely a preferable way of doing it. We'll get a ton more people voting, which I think it can only be a positive thing for Old School, because at the end of the day, if we're getting a better idea of what the player base as a whole want, then we're going to be doing more positive things for the game in the future. Let's see how many people we got with pink skirts on. I did say before the stream, I'd say before the stream I had a little thing up saying bring a pink skirt, come to the tortoise pen in the Grand Tree. There's a fair number of people with pink skirts here. I am rather impressed. Look at all these fabulous gents. Heisenberg. I hear that guy's pretty shady. Okay, let's get back to it. How many have we done so far? I'm gonna actually, we're at about 740 for those of you that missed the very start of the stream. I don't know what happened. Usually the counter resets when I log out. But unfortunately today it started on 15. So I've actually only done 740 kills. In fact, you know what? I'm actually going to do another 2 sets. That way I will be on 750, so 3/4 of the way done. Archer's ring, beautiful. Friendly blade, not too bad. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Screw it, I'll kill him. Okay, this is 755, so just over 3/4 of the way there. Oh, that makes me sad. Let's get that in there. These potatoes, they are nothing to do with the loot. So let's see what we've got so far. 8 archer's rings, 5 circles, 2 hatchets. I'm very disappointed with the number of hatchets I've got. Usually I get nothing but at DKs. Can never get that Zerka ring that you're dreaming of, but yeah, not too good on the hatchets. U-logs though, I'm impressed with the number of them I've got. 3.2k. I mean, 770 is a lot of kills, so that isn't by no means like bank loot spread over those 770 kills, but still I wouldn't expect to get that from Supreme. Steel knives, pretty lackluster. Iron knives, same story. Opal bolt tips, pretty irrelevant. They run our seeds, toeflax seeds, snapdragon seeds, that's nice to see. Cantine, lantadime, yeah, nothing particularly impressive. The sharks are always nice to see, as anyone who's ever been to DKs knows how lovely it is to get a big old shark drop, especially when you're on the last legs of your inventory. Axe, not hatchets. Don't be pedantic, come on. They're called hatchets in the other game. I get confused, give me a break. Yeah, that D-Med. I wasn't expecting that, I'll be honest. Frame Helm, always lovely. I do love having sets of the Fremennik gear, to be honest. In fact, I was running around PvP WODs yesterday watching a few of my friends PK while I was wearing this setup. In fact, you know what? That's necessary. So bank the rest of this stuff and sort out my inventory and then get back to it. I will take them into account once I'm done, by the way. I just want to be able to appreciate them while I'm doing this. So, what else is there to talk about? Corporal Beast, I suppose. We've gone over it a little bit. Here's what we're going to do. In the chat, if you're looking forward to Corporal Beast with the Spirit Shields, as they were, type 1. If you're looking forward to Corporal Beast, but you would like to see something other than the Spirit Shields, or a change made to the Spirit Shields, Axe, I'm sorry, then type 2. Just to get a general idea. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I'm seeing a lot of ones. There are some 2s coming, so that are I would say that it's probably... Now there's just loads of numbers coming in. It always deteriorates into nonsense. I think that was probably 60-40, 70-30-ish between 1s and 2s. So 1 being you want to see Corp with the Spirit Shields as they were, or 2 being you want to see Corp with something different. So I'd say Corp with Spirit Shield stands a reasonable chance. Of course, those questions that I just asked are beyond limited, but they're not particularly telling. But just to get a general gist, you know. Oh, one thing that I was actually going to do is set up a straw poll, which I might do now. Straw poll. Let's see. Type your question here, options below. Let's go with Corporal Beast. That's it. And there's not going to be a question. Poll option 1 will be Corp with Spirit Shields as they were. Next will be Corp with Spirit Shields reworked. Then Corp with something different to Spirit Shields, and then with the 4th one we'll go no to Corp. Okay, create poll. Sorry about the wait time, by the way. Let's pop this in the chat. If you guys go vote on that, then we can get that up in a second. I'll give it 3 minutes. Let's call it 3 minutes. That gives everyone a reason. You know what? 3 minutes is too much. Let's give it a minute. I'm genuinely interested to find out just how hyped people are for Corp. Because if you guys saw the live stream of Corp, it looks identical to how it used to be, which is really nice to see. Corp was hands down my favourite boss. Is still my favourite boss to have ever been in RuneScape, just because it was so simple. Like, while it was a really difficult boss to kill, prior to overloads and whatnot and turmoil and all that, it was still a boss that I felt like I could just go and do at any time. There was no running through a massive dungeon to get to it. There was no... Well, there was a mid-sized dungeon that you could waltz through in about 20 seconds, but I'm talking about like Dagonoth King's kind of dungeon. There was no getting kill count, there was no collecting keys or anything like that. You could just go and jump straight into it if you had a few friends online, or you could just go find a thread on the forums and you could find the team in a matter of minutes. Or you could join a friends chat and have 100 people there helping you with Corp and stand the tiniest chance of getting maybe a bit of loot. It was just a really enjoyable boss. The mechanics of it were, I think, spot on. Simple enough that you could do it, but challenging enough that occasionally you would die, no matter how good you are. Unless you're Wooks, of course. Let's see, let's get these results up then. It's been well over a minute now. Let's see. My straw poll is looking slightly ugly right now, so let's see. Try and get this into the screen for you guys without having to move stuff about. There we go. So Corp with Spirit Shields as they were, 46%. That is a huge amount, actually. I'm surprised by that. Corp with Spirit Shields reworked, 25%. Corp with something different to Spirit Shields, 22%. And then no to Corp, 8%. That is exciting to see. Honestly, while I didn't expect there to be a whole lot of opposition to the idea of Corp going into Old School, seeing that on that limited poll, I'm aware how that may not apply to the player base as a whole, but it is the first poll of any sort that I've already seen in terms of Corp stuff. It's exciting to see that it's such a slim number of people that don't want to see Corp. And the fact that a majority want to see it with Spirit Shields as they were is also something that is it's pretty exciting. What is the song name? Pinball Wizard. What am I doing? Banking, that's what I'm doing. Bank menu. What does that see? Dwarf Weed Seed, get over there. So if you guys have any... Oh, here's what we're going to do. If you've got an idea for a straw poll that I can do in this stream, before I'm done killing these next 150 Supremes, then tweet it to me, post it in the Twitch chat. Another hatchet, finally. Majority of people didn't want to see Spirit Shields as they were. That's a good point, actually. I'm an idiot, but still, the largest single group wanted to see Spirit Shields as they were. But even so, the fact that Corp as a whole is something that the community isn't opposed to it's really lovely to see, because I think it will bring so much to Old School. So much nostalgia as well. Straw poll D-claws. You know what? That is not a half bad idea. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get to 900, then I'll whip up a quick straw poll, and yeah, let's bank menu, open bank, go away. 895. Counter is still on 5 times. I don't know what you mean. Oh yeah, just to quickly explain for those of you that might be a touch confused with the counter. when I'm spawning them there, that's actually 5 supremes. It's not just going up in 5s every time I kill one. Every time I throw a chin, it actually kills 5 of them. And then the loot from 5 goes into my inventory. And then, of course, the hides and bones, you guys don't really need to see them in the bank, because you can just figure out 1,000 kills, it's going to be 1,000 of each. But yeah, let's get this declaw straw poll on the go, because I'm genuinely curious to see just how this will go. Should dragon claws be added to Old School? Question mark. Into poll option 1, yes. Poll option 2, yes. But with changes to balance them. And no. Okay, let's get this on the go in the Twitch chat. And again, we'll give it a couple of minutes and let you guys get your votes in. We got 570 odd votes on the last one. That's actually really surprising. That's quite an impressive number for just a live stream poll. Another hatchet. I'm getting them really close together now. In before counter resets. No, I'm really hoping it doesn't this time. That would be tragic. The only reason it reset last time was because I logged out, but the only reason I logged out is because it wouldn't let me kill them and it told me to log out. So I assumed something had gone terribly wrong, and I completely forgot that it would reset the counter. Okay, let's see how this poll's doing. Straw poll, let's get to it, see the results. Wow, that is surprising. That is actually incredibly surprising. Let's have a look at this. Should dragon claws be added to Old School? 46% just straight up say yes. 29% say yes, but with changes to balance them. Then 25% say no. That is actually unexpected. I would have expected it to be more like 40 to 60% no, and the rest yes but be changed, nerf the claws. But the fact that a majority would in some way like to see them in the game is something that is very surprising, and I think it goes to show how Old School is progressing as a game. Really, people are more open to ideas that I think a while back may have sent the wrong kind of message of what people saw Old School as. I guess with the release of AGS, that kind of it kind of shows to an extent that adding stuff that was post 2007 and considered overpowered isn't necessarily the be-all end-all of updates. It's not going to ruin the game if you have one weapon that is on a level of its own. However, if you add 400 of them and increasingly make them more powerful, that's when issues begin to occur. Another axe. I'm getting so many right now. Dragon Claws with 60% spec required. Problem solved. I think if you want to solve the issue of rushing in particular, a nice way to do that might be to make it so you have to be in combat before you can special attack. So you'd have to I don't know, be in combat for this many ticks before your special attack is available. I don't think that people would go for that for a second. I'm not suggesting that's a good idea, but I don't think that just bumping up the special attack of claws would be worth it. I don't think claws were that overpowered. I think the back-to-back specs were easily tanked if you were prepared for it. Occasionally you would get an insanely high spec and you just wouldn't be able to handle it, but occasionally. I mean, that happens with DDS occasionally, that happens with AGS occasionally, it happens with G-Maul occasionally, it happens on G-Maul against 99 defense in full tank occasionally. It's not the worst thing in the world to have those weapons that every so often will catch you by surprise. GE, you guys always spam GE, but it's going to be the same answer every time. GE did not pass the poll, the trading post did. the trading post will come out in the form that people voted it in at. The exception is not going to be made for the Grand Exchange because, I mean, at the end of the day, I keep on saying at the end of the day, I need to stop that. I am not a footballer. If we make the exception for the Grand Exchange, then it undermines the entire system. If we were to poll, and I'm saying this is a hypothetical, if we were to poll bonds tomorrow, and bonds hit 73%, and then we repolled that and it passed, there would be outrage. People would be furious. People would quit left, right and centre. It's a different example, sure, but it's at the same time, it undermines everything about the system that has done Old School a lot of favours if you go and say, oh, this one we want to repoll, this one we like, so we're going to repoll it. Because then, where do you draw the line? There's no real point in a polling system if we just get to pick and choose which ones are good enough to go back in for another try. If we're not drastically reworking something, then you shouldn't expect to see it repolled. At least not within a reasonable amount of time of it being polled. So if something, look at how many axes I'm getting. I have gone 10 over. I am rubbish. Okay, so I need to disregard half of this loot. Let's see. Let's get rid of that. That was it, right? Am I getting it wrong? And yeah, it's 1015 that I needed to get because it started on 15 for some reason. I logged in and it was on 15. It should have reset when I logged out. Not sure why it did. That axe did not count. You are right. So let's get this up. I'm going to bank it to there for this inventory. Open bank. And this is the final loot. Let's have a look-see. Okay. You know what? This has to be done. Where is it? I forget where the things are on this thing. There we go. Bank menu. Let's go. This is the final loot from 1,000. Well, yeah, 1,000. 10 archer's rings. That is... I mean, it's not... It's pretty average, really. Pretty bang on. Dragon axes, again, not terribly far off what would be expected. Circles, these are all 1 in 128. So they're all pretty much what you would expect to be getting, with a reasonable amount of variation. 10 archer helms. So I'm assuming they're also 1 in 128. Assuming, keep that in mind. Same with the spine stuff. Same with the Fremy blade. Who knows? This is just me speculating. I know for sure that dragon axes, circles, and archer's rings are 1 in 128. The rest of it, no idea. 3.7k U-logs. That's a pretty hefty amount. So what's that on average? 3.7 U-logs per kill. Wonder how long it takes to kill a Supreme and have Supreme spawn back compared to how long it takes someone with 99 woodcutting to chop 3 U-logs. I mean, I'm sure it's tragic in comparison, but hey, you gotta wonder. 46 red d'hide vams. That is depressing. Every time I see red d'hide vams, all I think is dragon chain body from Dust Devils. Dragon Medhelm, unexpected. Rune two-handers, I was not aware that they dropped them. Perhaps that's where I dropped it, I'm not sure. Ton of ammo, unsurprisingly. It is fitting for Wajima Supreme. Quite a lot of knives, actually. 13,000 iron knives. 10,000 of whatever they are. What are they? Iron arrows, pretty much 5k steel arrows, 42 rune. 225 sharks. There's a ton of stuff here. I mean, I could go over every single item. Let's take a look at the seeds. Just give them a quick right click so you guys can know what they are. Don't think we got any Ronan seeds, which makes me sad. Yeah, that is pretty much it then, I suppose. So I hope you guys did enjoy the stream. If you guys haven't yet, go check out the poll. on the homepage of the Old School website. The homepage of the Old School, yeah, the homepage of the Old School website. Click on the poll, go do the survey. Let us know what you guys think about in-game polls and what you want to see from in-game polls. Check out the Bounty Hunter devlog that went up today. Let us know how you feel about that. What else? What else can I plug? The Corporal Beast discussion thread that is currently on the forums in the announcement forum, the new announcement forum actually. We're not going to be posting developer blogs or patch notes or any official announcements to the general forum anymore. They're going to go straight into the announcements forum, because it keeps general nice and open and keeps it free of stickies, whereas we can have a nice archive of all of the old threads, the old dev blogs and updates and whatnot in the announcements forum. So go check out the Corp Beast discussion going on in there. It's at, I think, 800 posts or so now, which is amazing. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed. Some statistics before we go. Can I remember it? I can't remember it. Someone, if anyone can go back and get screenshots from this video of the Dragon Claws poll, or the straw poll, and the other straw poll, the Corpse straw poll, and like whack them on Twitter, that'd be much appreciated. I will do it myself when I get home if no one has done it by that time. Oh, and I missed these from the final loop. I can't accept that. That Archer's Ring was already worn. Bank menu. So this is actually the final loop. There you go. Can't complain. That's a pretty hefty amount. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you tune into the Q&A live stream tomorrow, developer Q&A live stream that's going to be happening at 5 PM BST on this Twitch channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching.